Welcome to today's Blueprint News. Today, we bring you one of the most comprehensive and detailed analyses of the 2026 U.S. Senate election forecast, with every state examined, every percentage included, and every trend explained, using the latest numbers from Race to the WH. Let's begin with the national picture. Republicans currently hold a 65.3% chance of winning the Senate majority, while Democrats have a 34.7% chance, reflecting a political environment slightly tilted toward the GOP. Now, let's go state by state. Alaska. Democrats 27.4%, Dan Sullivan R 72.6%. Alaska remains a Republican-leaning state, and Senator Dan Sullivan's deep support among conservative and rural voters keeps him comfortably ahead. Democrats perform well in Anchorage and among younger voters, but the statewide environment heavily favors the GOP. Florida. Democrats 18.7%, Ashley Moody R 81.3%. Florida has transformed into a Republican fortress. Ashley Moody's statewide presence, coupled with Florida's rightward shift, gives her overwhelming strength. Democrats struggle to motivate their base compared to the Obama-era coalition. Georgia, John Ossoff, Democrat, 77.3%. Mike Collins, R, 22.7%. Georgia remains one of the most fascinating states of this cycle. John Ossoff enjoys a strong lead due to high support in the Atlanta metro region, suburban shifts toward Democrats, and his national recognition. Republicans back Mike Collins, but the numbers remain in Ossoff's favor. Illinois, Raja Krishnamurthy, Democrat 93.3%, Republican 6.7%. Illinois is solidly blue, and Krishnamurthy benefits from overwhelming support in Chicago and its suburbs. Republicans rarely compete statewide in Illinois, making this one of the safest Democratic seats. Iowa. Democrats 23.7%, Ashley Hinson R 76.3%. Iowa's rightward shift continues as Republican Ashley Hinson holds a commanding lead. Rural counties strongly favor the GOP, while Democrats remain competitive only in urban and college town regions. Kansas. Democrats 14.5%, Roger Marshall R 85.5%. Kansas remains firmly Republican. Senator Marshall maintains strong support in rural counties and small towns. Democrats show pockets of strength in Kansas City suburbs, but not enough to change the statewide narrative. Maine. Janet Mills, Democrat 60.9%, Republican 39.1%. A unique state with independent voters playing a major role. Governor Janet Mills' popularity helps the Democrats hold a comfortable lead, especially in Portland and coastal regions. Republicans remain competitive in northern Maine. Michigan. Mallory McMorrow, Democrat 56.4%, Mike Rogers R 43.6%. A true battleground. McMorrow's appeal among suburban voters and her rising national profile give Democrats an early edge. Rogers remains competitive as Republicans continue gaining ground in working-class areas. Minnesota. Peggy Flanagan, Democrat 81.8%, Republican 18.2%. Minnesota continues its Democratic trend. The Twin Cities provide a strong base, and Flanagan's broad appeal gives her a near lock. Republicans maintain strength in rural northern areas, but lag statewide.
Montana. Democrats 9.9%, Steve Daines R 90.1%. Montana is firmly red at the federal level. Senator Daines maintains overwhelming support, and Democrats struggle despite pockets of progressive strength in cities like Missoula. Nebraska. Pete Ricketts R 87.4%, Democrats 12.6%. Nebraska remains strongly Republican. Ricketts' statewide name recognition and the state's conservative backbone secure his advantage. Democrats perform decently in Omaha, but not enough to shift the race. New Hampshire. Chris Pappas, D, 72.1%, Chris Sununu, R, 27.9%. A battleground that leans Democratic in federal races. Pappas benefits from strong support in urban and suburban regions, bolstered by independent voters. Sununu remains a well-liked figure but starts behind in this matchup. New Mexico. Ben Ray Lujan, D, 92.5%, Republican, 7.5%. New Mexico stays blue. Lujan's strong connection with Hispanic, Native American, and urban communities keeps him heavily favored. North Carolina. Democrats, 74.9%, Michael Whatley, R, 25.1%. A state trending purple but currently leaning Democratic in this race. Democrats benefit from strong support in Charlotte, Raleigh, and Durham, while Republicans dominate rural areas. The urban-suburban advantage gives Democrats the lead. Ohio. Sherrod Brown, D, 45.2%, John Husted, R, 54.8%. Ohio continues shifting toward Republicans. Husted's lead reflects the state's new conservative identity. Sherrod Brown remains popular, but faces a tougher environment than previous cycles. South Carolina. Democrats, 7.4%, Lindsey Graham, R, 92.6%. One of the strongest Republican states. Graham remains firmly ahead, backed by a deeply conservative electorate. Texas. James Tallarico, D, 25.7%, Ken Paxton, R, 74.3%. Texas remains red-leaning but competitive in major cities. Tallarico brings youthful energy and urban support, but Paxton's rural and suburban dominance gives him a clear advantage. Alabama. Democrats, 2.6%, Steve Marshall, R, 97.4%. A Republican stronghold. Marshall faces no serious statewide challenge. Arkansas. Democrats, 1.4%, Tom Cotton, R, 98.6%. Tom Cotton remains one of the safest incumbents nationwide. Arkansas remains deeply conservative. Colorado. John Hickenlooper, D, 98.2%, Republican, 1.8%. Colorado has become solidly blue. Denver, Boulder, and suburban regions provide overwhelming Democratic strength.
Delaware. Chris Coons, D, 96.8%. Republican, 3.2%. A safe Democratic seat, Coons remains highly favored. Idaho. Democrats, 1.3%. Jim Risch, R, 98.7%. Idaho remains one of the most Republican states in America. Kentucky. Democrats, 3.5%. Daniel Cameron, R, 96.5%. Cameron dominates the field in this deeply conservative state. Louisiana. Democrats, 2.3%. Bill Cassidy, R, 97.7%. Louisiana continues its strong Republican lean. Cassidy holds a commanding lead. Massachusetts. Ed Markey, D, 98.9%. Republican, 1.1%. One of the safest Democratic states in America. Markey is overwhelmingly favored. Mississippi. Democrats, 3.6%. Cindy Hyde-Smith, R, 96.4%. Mississippi remains firmly Republican. New Jersey. Cory Booker, D, 96.4%. Republican, 3.6%. Booker maintains strong support in this deep blue state. Oklahoma. Democrats, 1.6%. Mark Wayne Mullen, R, 98.4%. Oklahoma remains one of the most Republican states nationwide. Oregon. Jeff Merkley, D, 98.3%. Republican, 1.7%. Oregon stays safely Democratic, particularly in Portland and the Willamette Valley. Rhode Island. Jack Reed, D, 97.5%. Republican, 2.5%.
Rhode Island is solidly Democratic, and Reed remains one of the safest incumbents. South Dakota, Democrats 2.6%. Mike Rounds are 97.4%. A deeply Republican state, with Rounds holding overwhelming support. Tennessee, Democrats 1.5%. Bill Hagerty are 98.5%. Tennessee remains strongly Republican, giving Hagerty near certain victory. Virginia, Mark Warner, D, 96.2%. Republican, 3.8%. An increasingly blue state, Northern Virginia's population growth strengthens Democrats. West Virginia, Democrats 1.4%. Shelley Moore Capito are 98.6%. West Virginia has completed a dramatic political shift toward the GOP, leaving Democrats nearly non-competitive. Wyoming, Democrats 1.6%. Cynthia Lummis are 98.4%. Wyoming remains the most Republican state in the country. This was your fully expanded, deeply detailed, percentage-backed analysis of the 2026 Senate election forecast, only on today's Blueprint News.